point where we are, okay? So that you can get uh, another view, another aspect of this. Can you see back there? Okay, all right. We're sitting. I'm standing on the Mount of Olives, okay? The road you just came down is the road that I pointed out to you when we were sitting on the southern steps. Where are the southern steps? Well, you can look and we're on the east. See that bus going down the road? Right around, that's the corner of the temple that I pointed out to you. If you went right around where those green trees are, you would be on the southern steps where I taught you. Okay, are you oriented? Everybody understand? Okay, now, if you come up this road, where the buses are going, and you snake all the way up, and you come up to the level of the Gray Dome, which is the Mosque of Omar, then look to your left, across the road, across that settlement of buildings, then you see a little green area with trees, and to the left, you see another gray dome. Do you see that other gray dome?
Yes.
That's the house of Caiaphas. That's where you will be taught tomorrow. Okay? So that's the house of Caiaphas. And that's the way that we go back to the hotel. Okay? So the house of Caiaphas is the one with the tall trees, the gray dome, and the arch in front of the gray dome. The house of Caiaphas is where Jesus was put on trial, where he was arrested and taken to the house of Caiaphas. And you will hear about that tomorrow. Okay, now let's come back to the old city. Okay, what you see up here looking down is the Temple Mount area. The gray dome is the Mosque of Omar, and the El Asq Mosque. I'll get a new guide here in just a minute. That's the El Asq Mosque, and that's where a lot of preaching goes on. I've read some of the sermons that have been translated into English, where they have talked about what enemies the United States of America is and what enemies the Jews are. And so it is a hotbed. Many times on the news, they will take you inside and you will see them bowing and praying at the time of prayer. Okay? Then you come, I don't know why I'm holding that up to my mouth. All right, then you come to the Golden Dome. Do you see the Golden Dome? All right, that's where you're no longer allowed to go into, or is it Aton or Avi? They're not allowing them to go in there anymore?
They do allow only in the morning, but for very limited time.
Okay, for a very limited time.
1 hour at noon and then 2.5 hours.
Okay, it used to be open all the time. You would take off your shoes, you would go in. It is not a mosque. In the center is a cupola-like, and then you go down the steps to a rock. And that's the rock where this is Mount Moriah along here, and that's where Abraham offered his son, and that's where they say Abraham offered Ishmael, or was going to offer him. So that's inside the mosque, inside the Golden Dome. There's all sorts of beautiful, beautiful carpets. You'll see a lot of women in there praying, and that. All right, now, this gate that is sitting up, you come along the wall, and you see two arches below, and then it goes up like that. That is the eastern gate, okay? It's not the eastern gate of Jesus' time. You have to go lower for that. So all of this was much lower in the time of Jesus. The tombs in front of the eastern gate, they know the prophecy that Messiah will come in through the eastern gate. And therefore, they buried dead bodies. And they buried the dead bodies because they think he won't walk over a grave. So that will keep him from walking in. Okay. Over to the right, where you see all the trees, there's a building behind those trees, and then you see a minaret. Do you see this? Okay. That's where the praetorium is. That's where they would have the Jews. If you have your Bible, you can look at the front of your inductive study Bible, and you can get an overview of that and see what it was like there on the Temple Mount. And this, you would want to turn to this page, the Temple Mount, right here. See it? It's page 40, and you see the temple itself, and then what you see is you see a courtyard all around, and then you see over here number 18. When you look at number 18, it's the Antonia Fortress. All right, and what they did at the time of Passover, this city was jammed. Because remember, the Jewish people were to come up for every feast. So they would come up for Passover. Passover is when Jesus Christ was crucified. And so this city was jammed. So they kept the soldiers shut up in the Antonia Fortress so that there wouldn't be a conflict. And yet they had them there in case they needed to quell any rebellion.